Now for business updates across the globe, Rotus Odiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Doctor. Good morning, Aya. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning to all our viewers out there. I think we're starting with the UK, some wage numbers that just came out this morning. It's going to keep the Bank of England up at night. So May through July, average wages going up 8.5% year on year. The estimate was for 8.2. If you remove bonuses, 7.8% growth in line with estimates. If you include bonuses, that also climbs around the same level. So what it means is that wages continue to grow, which is going to put pressure on wage inflation, which means we might see at least another hike from the Bank of England before we're all said and done this year. Although there's a push-pull, some say perhaps there will be a hold. On the tech side of things, Apple will be launching their iPhone 15 later today, but they've also extended a deal with Qualcomm, the chip maker. I keep telling people this is the sector to watch for the future, along with electric vehicles and so on and so forth. You really have to take a look at the publicly traded companies in this space. So basically, as far as processing is concerned, the Snapdragon 5G modem RF system is what they have extended and what they're going to be using for smartphone launches through 2026, so 2024, 2025, 2026. Apple is currently using the X65 4nm chip for their phones, which is currently in the iPhone 14. Now, Apple intended to make up their own chips in-house. They bought, I think it was a company from Intel, a production house from Intel. They've been trying to develop their own chips in-house, but they have experienced delays. And so this benefits Qualcomm. I think their shares climbed on the news with respect to them continue to make these chips for them. This is where the race is when you look at the US, banning chip exports to China, Huawei trying to navigate its way past those with their Mate 64 phone that they just released. The chip race is the next arms race that is going on because of what it means for artificial intelligence. It's massive, yeah, Mate 90 Pro. So big race there. Okay, we come to Nigeria now. You've spoken extensively about the deal between the UAE and Nigeria. So immediate lifting of the visa ban. There's going to be resumption of Etihad and Emirates Nigeria routes. Apparently, there's also going to be some investments coming in from the United Arab Emirates into specific sectors in Nigeria. This we need to get some more details on because I've been trying to find out what this means. There's going to be a joint FX liquidity program. Does that mean we're going to be getting more FX coming in somehow from the UAE? They said that there will be more details on that, but considering the FX issues that we have, remember, we've talked about this ad nauseum, that Nigeria leads the globe in terms of blocked funds at about 812 million, I think as at March or so, with data from IATA, followed by Bangladesh and some other nations. So the FX repatriation issue is one of the main ones. So we'll be waiting details. Of course, I think Festus Keyamo and Civil Aviation Authority members, as well as some other individuals with the UAE. It's our understanding that they're in a meeting. They're having a meeting to follow up on these agreements so that we can get more, clarity on them. So there's a lot going on, I guess, in the aviation sector. I think you mentioned the CEO of Airpeace is coming on to come and talk to you guys about that. Yeah. So that's a lot's going to be discussed there. But listen, if you are flying to a particular country, they will mandate that you use their airlines. That's just how it works. So it's a race here to develop our own tourism sector so that we can mandate that we support our own airlines versus other countries coming in. I think now still on the FX issue. If you look at this headline here from FTSE Russell, I highlighted this. This is from 2016. So index provider FTSE Russell to review Nigeria's frontier status. This was back in 2016. It has resurfaced again. You remember that back in 2015, JP Morgan kicked Nigeria off its bond index. FTSE Russell was reviewing. Now, FTSE Russell, of course, part of FTSE is in the UK. They review indices. They have an index where they review equity markets across the world, so they can give investors a window into where to put your money. So it's good to be on that index. But what happened is back in September of 2022, they put Nigeria on a watch list. And on that watch list, they said the reason was because feedback from investors was that Nigeria has FX repatriation issues. They are basically hurdles to getting money out of the country. So most recently, they placed us on that watch list, and so it's now been a year since, that was September 2022, this is now September 23. They've now, of course, reclassified Nigeria into an unclassified level, so they basically downgraded Nigeria, and it resulted in a big sell-off on the stock exchange yesterday, particularly tier 1 banks. So we saw sell-offs, but then I always tell people, whenever you see a big sell-off on the market, that is an opportunity to jump in and buy stocks at a cheaper price. So they said they've been talking to the NGX, they've been talking to them for the past 18 months now that there have been issues with repatriation of funds, and so this again is just a further another step letting us know that we have to do something about what's been going on there. NNPC, they've been looking to boost oil production. This is a story which is in today's This Day. Group Chief Executive Officer Kiari has been in meetings with oil majors. They've been targeting, not only meeting, but exceeding the OPEC quota, which, I mean, if you look at our Q2 oil production, is about 1.2 million barrels per day, where Nigeria in decades past has been at 2.1 million barrels per day. You know what the ramifications are. You're not able to defend your currency, so that's a top priority. So the mantra for them has been production, production, production. I even went back to President Tinubu's manifesto. Even in his manifesto, he also, was aiming to increase oil production to 2.6 million barrels per day by 2027 and hopefully get it to 4. I mean, there's a lot that has to be done there to even get to this, get close to this. You've got aging infrastructure, pipeline infrastructure, you've got vandalism, you've got theft, and so on and so forth. You've got oil majors moving from onshore to deep water in terms of production. So now those divestments taking place, they're a challenge for the country. Flutterwave, they've announced a swap platform. Again, this is still on the FX matter. This platform, it's in collaboration with one particular BDC, Cadaver, I can't remember their name, and also I think Wema Bank as well. So this Swap FX platform is supposed to allow for more access. They're leveraging on their IMTO license, International Money Transfer Operator license, which they've of course gotten from the central bank. You can see Mr. Shonubi, acting CBN governor, there with the head of Flutterwave, the Flutterwave officials there, Mr. Benga over on the left. He also was in India as well. And so if you need access to foreign exchange, you get on the platform, you provide your details, normal KYC details, and this is more digital. This is, you provide details for where you want it to be transferred to. Of course, the CBN is going to be monitoring this. They are trying to digitize this process. I would hope that, and also there's an API that is supposed to work, this is a processing interface that is supposed to work with other banks in order to allow this to scale. But I would hope that this would be something that is, I guess, because Flutterwave is not the only IMTO in the market. There are others. Banks can also do this as well, right? So at the end of the day, people just want to be able to access FX at competitive rates, so they don't have to go to the black market. The CBN wants to track them. So we will see how this works out. And then central bank still on FX again. I thought this was pretty interesting. The central bank put out a circular telling banks what to do with their revaluation gains from foreign exchange. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. So the central bank said, hey, listen, you've made a lot of money from sitting on dollars which were revalued upwards that gave you a lot of profits, and we are mandating that you set this money aside as a capital buffer in case there are any shocks in the future. I mean, look, Nigerian banks are full of professionals. They have chief financial officers and executives that know what to do. Today is not the first day there was a devaluation and Nigerian banks were making gains from revaluation. Devaluations have been happening since time immemorial. So, anyway, I thought it was pretty interesting that the central bank is telling them, what to do as far as what's concerned. They know what to do. They're professionals. And then, I mean, you've already played our reports on him, but rest in peace to the legend, PA Chief Akintomi Williams. You've talked a lot about. I struggled in accounting. Accounting wasn't really my strong. Economics wasn't my strong suit. But you can't speak enough about what he contributed. The first indigenous accounting firm here. His impact on the stock exchange. And he lived to 104 or 5. Was it 104? 104. I mean,
he just turned 104.
A life well lived. May he rest in peace, and condolences to the family. And that's our update.
So a couple of things. I think about the swap deal first. So let me talk about the CBN first. So I'll talk about a popular of things. Number one, I think the CBN doing that probably. So in my mind, that warning to my mind was probably, hey, you guys don't dip in the money that you got from revaluation of the currency because probably inflationary pressures and things like that. that could probably also be a factor, but this is just me thinking whimsically. But concerning that swap thing, I think there are other people doing it. I think PiggyFest too does something like that.
Oh, you mean Flutterwave, right?
Yeah. So because I saw an advert yesterday, I think I was watching YouTube, and I saw an advert yesterday where PiggyFest was pretty much giving you the guidelines on how to go to their website and, get to convert currencies and things like that. That apart. And also, we need to also know what the intent of that deal we're having with the UAE is as regards Forex. Is it that they're going to be pumping Forex? Because we need a lot of that Forex, to be able to add liquidity to the market. It goes back to FTSE Russell. The problem too is liquidity in our market, Because if you read the FTSE Russell report, they talked about the fact, they acknowledge the fact that, we're going the route of fluctuation of the currency and everything, but liquidity is still a big challenge. So if that deal with the UAE passes as regards liquidity, then we should be able to do well. But real quickly, semiconductors are always the future. I think long ago, one of the top execs at if my memory serves me, was Intel, was talking about that semiconductors will increase and reproduce at a very tremendous power in the space of about 3 to 4 months or 6 months then. But the power has become immense now.
They're
and
everywhere.
semiconductor is the future. You can see big gains with companies like Nvidia and the likes. They're pretty much topping everything, because everything from our phone to this and everything will be around semiconductors, and that's why you see Apple's pushing the envelope. And see what Huawei too is also doing, with their Harmony OS and this new phone they just launched to really tackle Apple in the market, which is the Huawei Mate 90 Pro, which has, for the first phone ever in the world, to have a satellite connection. Actually, you can bring out your phone, you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, your phone will find a satellite connection and you'll be able to call with it. So that's a big challenge in the market. And also there too, they're putting the current processor in there. And we can actually use semiconductors to develop our economy if we improve on it. You remember the song Wopang Gangnam Style?
Yes, I do.
That song from Psy was talking about the Gangnam district in Korea, which is about one of the richest districts. And most of the people that lived in that district actually made their money from the semiconductor market at the height of South Korea semiconductor market. So we can look inwards and do a whole lot more.
Just very quickly, in a few days, Apple will be launching its latest iPhone.
Today.
Today. Okay, great.
Today,
So we've been talking about this launch, especially because in recent times they have seen a slowing in sales of smartphones, more smartphones in the market, cheaper alternatives and options, for people. But one of the key things to look out for is that they'll be moving away from their traditional Lightning conductor chargers. So in the past,
to Type C.
Yeah. So that's something, because and this is from the EU. This is a constant back and forth between the EU and Apple to ensure that it's universal. So you don't have to be carrying like 3 or 4 chargers for different kinds of types of phones. A few features they've said would happen: better battery life. They talked about the fact that it would be lighter. But let's see if it would move away from, I'm not sure if I'm very optimistic that it would move away significantly from what we have currently, but they'll be looking to ensure that they're able to, hopefully increase sales by the launch today, and we'll see how that works out.
Okay, a number of things. One, the CBN seems to just be experimenting with this FX matter. I thought the other day they said, they were going to clear FX backlog within 2 weeks. And they were relying on the 3 billion from African Bank, right? Nothing happened. What is the guarantee this time around that they will be able to do it with Flutterwave? So if one measure does not work, they will try another one, they will try another one. Meanwhile, the major challenge about demand and supply in that Forex market, liquidity problems and all of that remain. And meanwhile, in the I&E window, is it in the black market? I think the Naira is now about 930 to the dollar, worse than what you even reported yesterday, within 24 hours. The Naira keeps yo-yoing, in relation to the dollar. That's one. Two, you mentioned the UK, the jobs and wages report. Well, what we're told is that pensioners now are going to get some additional £220 under what is called the triple lock system. The triple lock system is calculated in relation to wages, inflation, and then 2.5 average of inflation rate. Now, why don't we have that in Nigeria? It's going to cost, these latest reports that they've given, it's going to cost the UK, the Chancellor, the Treasury, it's going to cost them about £2 billion, right? Over the next 1 year, taking care of pensioners. But here in Nigeria, we don't have that kind of system. Why don't we have it here? So that, you know, when you talk about minimum wage, you talk about review, pensioners in Nigeria can also benefit.
Right.
Because I meet some retired persons who will tell you, you know, it's what they've been earning as pensioners that they've been earning for the last 10 years and it doesn't work. And then you talked about the UAE,
yes,
you know,
deal with Nigeria,
lifting of visa, Etihad and Emirates coming back to Nigeria. I raised the issue and I quoted at length something I wrote today, that there are bigger issues to worry about in that aviation sector. And it's good we have the chairman of Airpeace. And one of the big issues has to do with the role of AMCON with regard to Arike and Aero contractors. Now, and I thought AMCON has a sunset clause of about 10 years. We have the 2010 Act, okay, they reviewed it in 2019. It was reviewed again in 2021. It's not supposed to be a permanent you know, initiative, special purpose vehicle. And if anything, AMCON has failed. AMCON is sitting on dead assets. The financial stability that AMCON was set up to put there has not worked. The people who succeeded Mustafa Chike-Obi, they've simply run the place aground. And I am recommending that, look, President Tinubu should take a look at AMCON and fold it up and look for more creative ways of ensuring financial stability within the system. The non-performing loans, have they not even increased within the system?
You have a point. But doctor, you know the assets, the dead assets are still there.
They are there.
So if you fold up AMCON, the assets that they are housing, something
else can be done.
Right.
But AMCON is not functioning. The people should be asked to go home.
Do away with AMCON. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Doctor is passionate this morning.